Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. We got some good news and some bad news. So good news is it looks like the Circle IPO is said to be 25 times oversubscribed. You don't know what I'm talking about. Circle is the company for the stablecoin USDC and is going public. And there is a lot of people that want to get into this. And we've been talking about stablecoins for quite some time. Actually, I think stablecoins are quite a huge opportunity. You know, people say, well, how do you do that? Because stablecoins are just stable. How can I make anything off that? Really just comes down to what chains are supporting that stablecoin. So for USDC, we can see here we have Sonic and Unichain and Polkadot and Tron, Near, Solana, and a whole plethora of different crypto projects. But the question you probably have to ask yourself is, well, which one is doing the most of the work? Because I haven't heard about half of these. If you really want to break this down, you can go to DeFi Llama. I linked this in the description so you can find it. And it's very simple. Tron is 31% of essentially all the stablecoin market. And it is over 55 or 56% on Tether. But Ethereum is the big winner so far for all stablecoins combined. Now, if you want to even break this down even further and take a look, well, which chain that is USDC is on, which crypto project or which blockchain is being used the most. And it's broken down quite simply right here. USDC, number one is Ethereum. And you can see the supply, 38 billion. Next one is Solana. And then comes layer twos, Arbitrum, Base, and Sui or Sui, Polygon, and so on and so forth. And of course, for USDT, we can just see that it's Tron, which is why Tron is in the top 10 and doing so well. So again, stablecoins, I think there is an opportunity there. A lot of people are going to miss it. That's fine. That's just pretty much what it is. But today, the market itself is taking a little bit of a pullback, 2.6%. And we're at just above 3.4 trillion. Bitcoin's down. Ethereum's up a whopping 0.7%. Watch out. XRP, pretty much everything. So what happened? Well, in our market, it's down. Traditional markets, it's actually kind of sideways. S&P 500 is up 0.23%. It's kind of whipsawing back and forth. So what happened? Well, it comes down to macro. And it looks like the ADP employment or privately run businesses payrolls, it looks like they took a big hit. You can see over here, this 60,000. This is what it was last month. So for job creation, we expected, actually, the median forecast was 110,000, and that didn't hit. And we're at 37,000, which is way less than what we thought it was. This is the weakest ADP jobs report in 2 years, pointing to a hiring freeze, possibly over trade wars. If you're a company, why would you want to hire a bunch of people, especially if there's a trade war going on and you have to pay a bunch of tariffs? So for this situation, we're cooling off in the markets, or excuse me, in our economy. And because of that, we can see that Donald Trump over on Truth Social is saying, look, ADP numbers are out. Jerome Powell, leading the Federal Reserve, you have to lower the rates. He states he is unbelievable. Europe has lowered already 9 times. And I will say that Jerome Powell was probably not going to listen to this tweet or this over on Truth Social. And we take a look at the CME group and see what the chances of them actually cutting rates. We're still at 95.6% chance that it's not going to happen. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with Jerome. We don't know what's going to happen with the Federal Reserve. But you can see right here, as far as like the next meeting, I guess that's for 18th of June, 95% is not going to get cut. Let me refresh this. Maybe it's this is change. And we have to get, no, it hasn't changed. How about for July? Yeah, maybe 70% say it'll stay the same. 28% say we could cut some rates. In September, it's looking more likely in September. Who knows if the rates are going to get cut? But of course, that is an inflationary measure. But of course, Jerome Powell says higher for longer. So we'll see which one actually wins out. We want to see rate cuts, obviously, because that will stimulate. And of course, the money printer will go on. Everybody will be happy. However, you have to understand that as you do these things, you really are just kicking a recession down the road, which America has been doing for quite some time. So that's up to them. I'm not here to sway their opinion because I'm just some guy talking to his computer. But as far as like the good news in our markets, switching from macro, you have to remember Bitcoin's doing great. Some altcoins are doing okay. But if you take a look at the ETFs, things are looking pretty nice. This is Eric Balchunas. I think I said his name right. Senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg. He says these are the 13F filers. That's for the SEC. They make up 20% of total assets. But in my opinion, that is likely to rise at 35 to 40% as more adoption comes. Because we see a lot of the ETFs, a lot of the institutions coming in and saying, we want to be a part of that. We're going to talk to our clients and they're going to buy it up, which they have been doing. Then, of course, the other companies are getting into it and putting on their balance sheet. So things are looking pretty good. However, here's what I was talking about as far as like the not so good news. See, I could give you just good news and you could probably walk away and be like, that was awesome. I feel awesome. I feel great. But I have to prepare you for some things. So as far as like a Bitcoin spot ETF, the cumulative flow, we have been doing pretty good. When in doubt, zoom out. And going back to 2024, look how much we've actually, as far as the ETF has accumulated. I mean, massive, massive amounts. But you will notice that there was a peak 2 weeks ago, and now there's a little bit of a small pullback. Not a big deal, right? Probably not. But I will say what's interesting to me is you can take a look at BlackRock for the ETF flows, and usually there are positive, positive. Usually Grayscale is negative, negative. But if we take a look at this last row here, the first row on the left-hand side, BlackRock, IBIT, 0.25% fee. We can come out here that on the 30th of May, they dropped a lot, $430 million worth. On 2nd of June, when the markets opened up back up, 130. Now, yesterday they did come in positive at 58 million. Everybody was positive across the board. And we are still positive, but there is some things going on in the background, and it's just to be aware of. Also, like we talked about, these businesses, they keep doing the MicroStrategy play, and I like that. I like that when they buy Bitcoin and they put it on their balance sheet and they say, look, this worked pretty well for MicroStrategy. This worked for a lot of different companies. We're going to do the same thing. Spanish coffee chain Vanadi Coffee, I have no idea who they are. They're going to purchase 1.1 billion Bitcoin for its treasury reserve, and things are looking good. I like this. This is fantastic. However, I see some concerns, and we're going to talk about, just like what I talked about in the thumbnail, of why this concerns me, and not just me, but other Bitcoin maximalists. Bitcoin in the long run will do just fine. In the short term, if people don't really understand what it is and what it's here for and what it can do for the world, essentially, they're going to just be the number go up people. And that's fine. That's what got a lot of us into it. And I think there's something in the background that could really hurt like this. StanChart warns of potential liquidation risk for corporate adoption Bitcoin at high prices. This is Standard Chartered. This is from a bank research. Now, again, don't boo me. I'm just telling you, this is one part. And we're actually going to take a listen to Saifedean Ammous. He's going to echo the exact same sentiment. If you know who this guy is, he's one of the biggest Bitcoin maximalists you're ever going to see besides Max Kaiser. And he is echoing the same sentiment. Here's what we got. The bank's research highlighted that 61 companies now hold Bitcoin in their corporate treasury. That's pretty good. Controlling collectively 3.2% of the total Bitcoin supply. I think it's actually more than that because I think there's a lot more Bitcoins lost, but I mean, I can't prove it, but here we are. This trend has surged in recent months with imitators following Strategy's footsteps, increasing their Bitcoin holdings from 50,000 to 100,000 Bitcoin in just 2 months. Pretty good. And Kendrick, who is the Standard Charter, I guess the analyst, emphasized that for at least half of these firms, the average purchase price of Bitcoin exceeds $90,000 per Bitcoin. And even a modest correction can lead to losses and reputational damage for firms. I remember this in 2021. You had investment funds or you had retirement accounts buying things up, and they're like, what the heck happened? Why is the price going down? I thought this was up only. And they didn't really realize that this is volatile. And we're in price discovery. That's just how much it is. And I think if the organizations don't know it, now, some do, obviously, but I think some are like, hey, wait, this is too much. And then they have to answer to their shareholders like, why did we invest so much into Bitcoin? Look, it's gone down 70%, 80%. Why do we keep this on here? It's a sinking ship. You know where this is going. I know where this is going. It's the same thing happened in 2022 to Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. It's only the strong ones that make it. According to Kendrick, we identify a pain level of 22% below the average purchase price as a potential liquidation level. So you're looking at below, I don't know, roughly $76,000, $78,000. That's maybe. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth. This was an interview with Saifedean, And this was in the Bitcoin conference. I'm gonna play it in its entirety, and you can make the decision here. Let me make sure you can hear this perfectly. Let me share this. Make sure this is good. I believe it's Natalie Brunell actually interviewing him in the background. Take a listen to this. Again, about 1 minute and 46 seconds.
I just hope my message out there to everybody who's into this business is Bitcoin has done -70 and -80% before, and it can do it again. If your business model can't handle a -80% Bitcoin drawdown, rework your business model right now, because I think we're getting toward the very shaky ground of the top and the fall from it. Historically,
you think we're near a top?
I think so. I mean, historically, this is usually the time when we get the top, between 1 year and 18 months after the halving.
But
Historically,
we're actually underperforming the last halving cycles. Like we should be up higher in terms of the price.
well,
so.
yeah, if you measure from the time of the halving, but the difference is that usually the bull market would have started just before the halving, but now we had a significant bull market well before the halving. So that's why it looks like we're underperforming since the halving. But since the bottom, we were up from what was it, 15K to 109. That's not inconsiderable. 110, I think we hit is the highest. Or 111, I think.
112. Yeah.
112, yeah, I think 112 was the highest. So 115 to 15 to 112. That's sevenfold.
So you don't think we're going to like 200K this year?
No, we might, but I think there's a good chance we go over 200K. But I think we're getting to that point where it's going to be very volatile both ways. Likely, we're going to get to that that vertical side, that vertical part of the curve where it goes up a lot.
Blow-off top
Yes,
kind
the
of
blow
thing?
off top, where
We
it
never
goes
really
up a
got
lot
that.
and then it crashes.
So that is it, coming from the mouth. Now, there's a couple of things to go over just to make this 100% clear, which is when he talks about, Saifedean talks about, 70, 80% dips. That's would actually be the first thing, 78% dips. And the next thing is comparing this against other cycles. So if we take a look at that, he's absolutely correct. And we can see that this is from the top of the first cycle, roughly, when Bitcoin hit a whopping $1,127.45 on 29th of November 2013. And then roughly a year later or so, it dropped 85% to $172. That's just the first one. Now, cycle 2, 2017 to 2018, roughly another year, it went from 19,665 down to 3,217. And what you'll notice is that this is November 2013 is the top, December 2017 was the top, and the third one, November 2021, was the top. So we see it November, December, November. But to go from November 2021, which was $67,000, down to the low of 15,702, it was only 77% drop. So that's 85% drop from the top, 84% drop from the top, 77% drop from the top. So what he was talking about is 80 to 70% drop. He's absolutely right. Now, could this hit 200,000? Maybe. But it seems like we've been going pretty sideways for quite some time. So I can't tell you what it's going to be, but if it follows this same rules, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate. Let's say it is the price on May 22nd, 2025 at 111,679 was the top for this cycle. It'd be very strange, quite honestly. I still think November, December could be in the cards. But if it is, and it goes down 70%, that gives us a $34,000 Bitcoin. Let that sink in. Are you adequately prepared for something like that? Or would you be like, well, he did say up to 200,000, and then 70,000 drops. We're looking at 76, 80,000, somewhere around there. Yeah, that's true. It could be there. And hopefully it is. But if it's not, what if we are around this spot? And the thing that concerns me, not so much as you guys, because you guys know what time it is. You guys have been around for quite some time. You know about bears and bulls, and you know about these stats. What I'm concerned mostly about is these companies that have recently got in because of number go up, following the MicroStrategy playbook, and maybe not realizing just how volatile things can get. That's the one thing that concerns me. I have no concerns about the long-term viability of Bitcoin and where things are going. It's the nonsense that these guys will play, I think, because not everybody is on that level. And then also, to finish this up, then we'll get into a little Q&A. What Saifedean was talking about as far as cycle bottoms and how we were actually already in a bull market. And he talked about the halving. The last halving that we had was April 20th, 2024. Correct me in the comments. I'm pretty sure I'm right. So if we come over here, April 20th, this is from the bottom, which was December 15, 20, what I just showed you, December 15, 2018. There was a good bull run. We went from 17,000 and we rallied 200 days later, a little bit of a drop here. But again, in April 20th, 2020, we'd already had like a little mini bull run. And then, you know, here we are today. And then, let me rephrase that. This is what I was going for. Excuse me. April 20th, 2024. I was in 2020, sorry. And then for 2020, it was May 11th, 2020. Again, April 11th, that makes more sense. April 11th, 2024, or April 20th, 2024. We did have a massive bull run. And now, of course, we continue on to that one. Over here, I guess that was right. We really were going sideways. And the one before that, market cycle 3, we can see it was pretty flat, not so much of a bull run, as opposed to, say, something like our cycle, which we're in here right now. And we have gone up pretty well. So the question you have to ask yourself is, did we already see these monstrous gains that we're supposed to see, and that's it? Or are we going to see some more upside potentially down the road? Anyhow, that's up for you to decide. I just give you the information and we go from there, but that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. What we talk about is time sensitive. Now let's do a little Q&A. I'll go over all your questions and we'll go from there. Let's see. Who's got what? 1708. Let's see. And SRT says that pump was ETFs. True, but it seems like, and it's a good point, but every single pump, every single increase in the market has some kind of reason. People will go back to April 20th or in 2020 towards the end of the year and they'll say, oh, the only reason it pumped was because Elon Musk started to acquire Bitcoin for Teslas. That was the big reason. Or it was some macro event or something like that. There's always some narrative, but it just kind of keeps repeating itself and over again. I'm not for sure. I still hold out to the fact that we see a bigger play in November, potentially December, but who knows? And if that was the top, it'd be the lamest bull run of all time. Although I will tell you, I'm still feeling pretty good because I remember buying Bitcoin when I got in 2017, it was 8,500. Then I remember at 5,000 and 4 at some point during the pandemic. And then, 10,000, 12,000. So it's just all timing. It's just all time in the market. We'll see. Jay today says, I'm leaning towards definitely, maybe, sure. Rob, we can't trust Trump. Like Trump coin? No, you can't trust Trump coin. You can't trust anybody. Everybody's out to get you. Didn't you know that? That's just pretty much how it is. Boomer Crypto says, when's the next meetup in San Juan Smokehouse? Going to be in PR this weekend. Would love to come. I'm in Texas, so I will not be there, unfortunately. But I'll be back soon enough. 100 Air says, the point Saif was getting to was that the first time all-time was hit before the halving. Yeah, and it's another thing. It's another thing to consider that, this cycle is a little bit different than the ones that we had before. So it's something to think about as far as like maybe, because of course, when I say take profits, people are like, nope, I'm going to wait forever. That's fine. It's whatever you want to do. Some of this is, maybe this is for your kids. Maybe this is for your grandkids. Maybe this is, I still believe that Bitcoin's going to 10 million per token. Or I still believe that the dollar is going to 0. Maybe. It just depends on a time horizon. It's all what you want to do. Rob, any thoughts on TheraChain? I don't own it, Chinza, so I don't really talk about it. And I don't know anything about it, honestly. So if you own it, good luck to you. For the developers, Black Hole Soul. Yeah, that's it. Let's see. I think that's it. What do you think? One more high? I mean, we'd like it to be. But we have to get through a couple of things. First of is this crippling debt, the big beautiful bill, which is a disaster, war in Russia and Ukraine, and probably deal with the tariffs. That's seem that people can't wrap their head around. So yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Here's one. Hey, Rob, you staking SOL on TANGEM. Is that really safe? And are other ones to stake on TANGEM? So as far as I know, I think it's only Solana. And I do stake on Solana. Is it safe to stake on Solana as far as like a cold storage device? Yes. I mean, for me, it is. You never know. Like maybe in the future they come out and say, oh, there was this one crazy thing in the background that made this thing do this thing. And then all of a sudden it's I don't know. I just know that so far it's given me yield because that's what the Solana Foundation has decided to do. And that's why there's an inflationary rate for Solana so we can pay those people that are staking like me and you. Yeah. Lax Guy says I'd buy more Bitcoin or 70K. Me too. Janelle says, you hurt my feelings every time you say what price Bitcoin was when you got in. You know, the price that I say is going to be a distant memory in years. And then everybody who's here is going to be able to tell the people that get in at like when Bitcoin's like $1 million or whatever and say, you know, I got it under 6 figures. It was awesome. People didn't believe in it, but here we are. When I got in at 8,000, I kept hearing people talking about how they got in like a nickel or something. And I'm like, I can't beat that. Yeah. The Rusty Bot says negative 70% from here is 32K. Negative 6% is 43%. Is 43K. Yeah. It just depends on if you're going from like the all-time high all the way down. But from here, yeah. Rob, your thoughts about get out in June, July, August? Well, I think the best one, I mean, we did hit a top in May. So that whole adage, sell in May and go away, and then come back roughly in October. Probably will be pretty smart. But who knows? Wouldn't that be funny if it actually repeated perfectly like that? Oh, man. Gava says, I bought Bitcoin at $135. See? Everybody's got a price. And I'm sure there's somebody in the comment section going, wow, Godfather got $135. I got it at a penny or something. Cranston says, no more than a 50% pullback. Chinza said, I was 6x on Thorchain at some point. Did not take profit. Big mistake. It's okay. It's a mistake that more people make again and again and again. I make that mistake too sometimes. Yeah, better late than never. Puerto Rico says hola. Fiat is going to 0. Bingo says, Rob, what percentage will you hold of Bitcoin for the next bear market? The idea for me was always to sell 80% of my crypto. I guarantee some of the altcoins, it's going to be 100%. Most are going to go down to at least 80%, at least. But Bitcoin, with it being bought up by all these companies, that I'll see what they do. You know, if they start selling like crazy, or if, you know, I don't know, Trump administration goes back on their word for a Bitcoin strategic reserve, or we don't see a lot more adoption as far as like nation states, I might think about taking more profit. But I mean, if those things hold true, which I do think they will, then I think it's not a good idea to sell a big bunch of Bitcoin. But I will sell some. I know people don't ever hear that from people out of their mouth. I mean, people will lie to your face and say they've never sold Bitcoin, but I'm like, sure you haven't. That mansion, I'm sure you got it at your, working your 9 to 5, I guess. But yeah, I'll sell some. Let's see. Thoughts on Kronos working together with Trump? Match made in heaven. You need to marry Bitcoin and just date altcoins. You need to marry Bitcoin and date altcoins. Maybe so. Rob, you still pretty high in Link? I still have a good amount. I'm kind of surprised that, I mean, it's one of those things that you actually, the blockchains have to use as far as an oracle to pull outside data into the blockchain. And yet, you know, what is it? It's in the top 20 still? You think that would surge as opposed to like, you know, fart coin or something like that. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, it's number 16. That's not bad. For the week, down 9.6%. But if we zoom out, well, that's not good. Yeah, look at that. It used to be 50 bucks. $51.85 in 2021. It still hasn't hit its all-time high. It's making lower highs. So I'm not a TA guy, but I think from there to there is like not the direction you wanted it to go. So yeah, altcoins. Woo. Hello, Mohammed. Oh, nice. Robert Rice says, I sold some Bitcoin last year to get my driveway asphalted. Bought it all back for a cheaper price. That's how you want to do it. I don't need real estate. I'm going to live in the blockchain, he says sarcastically. Yeah. 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 Gas fee, it's weird. Just happens. I want to buy some Bitcoin. Which time is best according to you? The best time is right now. As far as like what's going to happen tomorrow, I have no idea. I'm not that guy that can tell you like, you know, you should wait for this event to happen or that event to happen. I mean, I've done in the past when like Jerome Powell was going to speak and we kind of had this idea that inflation was high or he was going to be very hawkish. And I was like, just wait for him to make the announcement and then, you know, buy as it goes down. But for these days, I can't really tell you. I tell you what I do. I just dollar cost average. I buy Bitcoin and some certain alts every couple of days. I have no stress. It's pretty nice. I mean, the only stress that I get is when I get like emails from people saying they got scammed out of stuff. That does stress me out because it hurts. It hurts every single time I read that. And yeah. Pierre Jim says, just in, Elon Musk says, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. He's been very vocal about that. And it's pretty surprising that he was that vocal about it. And there's some people that are still supporting that bill. It's crazy. It's just going to put us into more debt. Did Ton die? I don't think it's dead. Is it in the top 30 still? No, 21. Hey, it beat out Chainlink this month. It's only down 6.9%. That's so sad. Let's see. Yeah, well, look at this. Well, I mean, I will say, I mean, it was out in 2021. And at least for this cycle, it peaked out at around $8 on June 14th, just a year ago, 2024. So maybe it'll come back, but right now it's not doing so hot. Yeah, what a bummer. What Maxi gave the massive warning. It was Saifedean Ammous. I think that's how you say his name. It is that guy right there. And it was a warning like, hey, you know, maybe Bitcoin could hit a 200K top. Dude, I got to tell you, before this cycle started, or during the cycle, I guess, during the ETFs, I mean, I remember hearing projections of like 200K was low. Remember that? And then all people were like 300, 350, 500K, like this cycle. And now as things that come out, people are like, well, maybe it's a little bit less. And Saifedean's right. I mean, these companies that are putting on there, hopefully they understand that they got to hold this for at least 4 years. And you know what's crazy? Not crazy, but it's the truth. If they bought at 90,000, right, and we don't have another blow off top, and it goes down from there, then they're going to be in a little panic if Bitcoin goes down to like we talked about 34, 40K, and their shareholders will be furious. Why did you invest into Bitcoin? We thought it was the future of finance. Now it's this way. But they don't understand that if they just hold it for 4 years, it'll be fine. Well, we'll see. Ed says, predictions in the FOMC. Now we went over that. It looks like, Ed, they're not going to budge in June. Maybe in July, 30th of July. But it looks more so like September is where people are putting their money on as far as like rate cuts. Yeah. Always have money on the sidelines, buy hard assets and dips. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm not going all in like right now. I mean, I did a lot of buying during the bear market like you all did. So I'm just sitting here, just slowly dollar cost averaging, doing the boring stuff. Yeah, and please hit the like. It always helps tremendously. Scams are surging. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, so we talked about scams yesterday, and I talked about, you know, how to diversify your portfolio as far as like safety and storage. And we talked a lot about TANGEM and Ledger. I've got multiples, you know. And I just wanted to let everybody know, I could be lying to you. I could actually have 2 TANGEMs, or maybe a half a Ledger, or whatever. But I've decided that I'm going to go heavier into iTRUST because they have that custody. And I just got off the phone with them. Actually, it was 3 hours ago, and I filled out the form, and I'm going to be transferring it to them for custody service. And the custody service is the same one like we talked about. It's the same one that these guys use: Coinbase Prime, MicroStrategy, and BlackRock. And one of the things they told me is that I said, well, how does that work? Like they said, well, you send the Bitcoin or whatever you're doing, because you can have other cryptos. You can have Solana, you can have Ethereum, you can have XRP, whatever it is, right? I mean, it's limited, but you can send that over. And because it's one-to-one, it's off balance sheet, or it's not on the balance sheet, that they send that over and Coinbase Prime just custodies it. And then when you want to sell it, it can only go one way. It's kind of like Hotel California. You can check out, but you can never leave. So the Bitcoin is going to go into Coinbase Prime. And then when you want to take profits and you have to sell it, only cash is going back to you. What I liked about this, they said, if there's anything above $50,000, there's some steps that you need to take to get that money into your bank account. And at first I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how dare you? How dare you make me jump through hoops to get my own money? But I thought about it, I'm like, you know, it's actually a pretty good idea, especially if you're getting like socially engineered or wrench attacked and so on and so forth. And there's somebody in the background. Maybe it's good that they do those things. So I'm just going to do that because I don't want to deal with the headaches. So that's what I'm doing. And if you want to check it out, from yesterday's video, there's a phone number you can call and actually talk to somebody about that. But that's the idea. And I might actually move more than just, you know, what I had in there. Maybe it's 80%. I don't know. Rob, do you think this alt season will be different since there are so many coins now? Chinza, it's a good point. It's a lot of what people are saying. If it wasn't for those meme coins, which was fun, let's be honest, it was a fun time. But you know, when you have 10 bajillion coins out there, and there's only so much there's only $3.4 trillion in our market, then it's kind of hard for any one alt to really pump because it's all in stupid stuff. And then people get hoodwinked and they're like, oh, this is going to go up because community or whatever. And they'll just hold on to it until it goes to zero or they get dumped on. So yeah, I think there's too many coins and it was a meme coin. And as fun as it was extremely damaging to our market. That's what I think. And Donald Trump didn't help with his stupid Trump coin. There, I said it. You're welcome. Rob, I know you only talk about tokens you own. So what's the newest token you're about to talk about? Started coming late. Shoot. I don't really have one, honestly. I mean, like everybody's talking about Hyperliquid and how great it is. Have you tried to buy Hyperliquid in the United States? Good luck. Just saying. And I don't even know if that's the case because like if you look at the volume, it's not really that big and it's not allowed on a lot of different exchanges as opposed to say, you know, like the Solanas and the Ethereums and the Cardanos of the world. So I'm just like, is this just low volume and thin order books or what is really pumping this price? I know it's like, well, it's super easy to use, Rob. And of course, that's what that Win character is doing as far as like on the hyper liquid decentralized exchange, and he's using leverage. He's getting wiped out, but I mean, it's good publicity for them. Maybe that's the next big thing. I don't know, but no idea. Thoughts on ICP? Caffeinated demo. Hopefully they do well. I have a little ICP, but it's not much. I just kind of bought. I did the Stanley Druckenmiller play, which is I heard about ICP. I was like, this could be good. And I bought some just a little bit so I could do the research. And then I've been dragging my feet on the research because it was so little. So I do have to at some point really take a look at that. Yeah, Crown Senator says it right. Just use your head. Don't listen to YouTubers. They'll send you broke. Or what they'll do is they'll get a nice fat chunk of crypto that the project will just give them. Say, hey, talk about this token. Here's a bunch of tokens. Okay. They talk about the tokens. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And then like in the middle of the night, they dump it on you. If Bitcoin up to 50K, would a company like Strategy be financially in trouble? What if it did to 20K? And Michael Saylor was talking about this repeatedly as far as like, you know, the liquidation price and what they say it is. It's actually, I want to say it's like 19, something super low. But of course, as they keep buying, that had to have gone up because he keeps buying the top. I think that'll be the big factor. But you know, Michael Saylor was buying in 2020 in MicroStrategy. They didn't flinch when 2022 came around. Didn't say like, well, we're going to do this or that. They kept buying. And I think the people that are investing into MicroStrategy, they know that he's not going to sell. If he does, watch out. But I just don't see that happening. There's no coming back from $37 trillion of debt. That's what makes America number one. But true. Heard everything but listening to nothing. Hear everything but listen to nothing. Hyperinflation still a possibility. Could be. A1 says, Sue, doesn't matter how much they custody. And you can have iTRUST have your Bitcoin and crypto in that service Coinbase Prime. Exactly. Here's how it works. So you go to, first of all, you're going to call iTRUST. You're going to talk to somebody, a real person, right? And they're going to say, okay, here's the form of whatever you want to put in, right? And it's limited. It's not like you can put in like, you know, GigaChad coin or something crazy like that. There's the normal, usual big plays, right? So if you're into, I'll read them to you, matter of fact. So I was taking notes today as I was talking. Drum roll, please. Here we go. So you can put in Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Chainlink, Ethereum, Stellar, and ADA. And that's what they're going to roll it out with. Because this just came out about a month ago, but they're going to add more in. So if you have Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Link, ETH, Stellar, or ADA, sounds good. Also, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I kind of will. One of those cryptos, they're going to offer staking services. How cool is that? So you get institutional grade custody and you get to stake it. And it's on by Coinbase Prime, the same with MicroStrategy and BlackRock. So, okay, so you send in your Bitcoin or XRP or whatever. They send it over to Coinbase Prime. They store it. They custody it. When you want to take it out, you're not taking out Coinbase. Excuse me, you're not taking out your Bitcoin or XRP. You're selling it. And just so you know, to send it in, there's no cost to send it in, which I think is crazy. There's no monthly fee, which I also think is crazy. But when you sell it, you're going to pay 1%. And of course, people are like, oh, that's a lot. Look, most exchanges that you have it on, I mean, you can deal with the hassles and things like that, but a lot of exchanges like maker taker fees, it's pretty much what they equal up to. Now, there's other provisions. You can go for like Coinbase Advance, or you can go through Binance Advance or whatever they have, and it's much, much, much lower. And you can do that, but if you don't want to deal with it, you just do this and you get institutional grade custody. You sell it, let's say that you put 1 Bitcoin in, and then you sell it, the cash is going to go to you, not the Bitcoin. But they're going to take 1%. What is that? So it's 1% of that. Goes to you. If it's like, let's say 1 Bitcoin at 105,000, whatever else it is, they're not just going to send it. Over $50,000, they're going to do essentially a Zoom call and say, is this you? Do you know what you're doing? You know why you're doing this? Did someone tell you to do this? Is this going to another? Oh, it has to go to your bank. It can't be a third-party bank or something else like that, which also helps out people. Now, could this happen where like you get wrench attacked, you get beaten down for like 2 weeks straight, then you do a Zoom call and you got a black eye, and like, I just want my funds back. Like, sir, are you missing teeth? Yes, but I went to the dentist. Anyhow, they're going to give you the funds. It's going to go to your bank. Those same people could take you to the bank and say, give us the money. And of course, the banks will be like, why would we give you $100,000? We don't even have $100,000 here. Good luck. So yeah, I mean, I just think that if it was Bitcoin in and Bitcoin out, we'd have big problems. But it's not. It's Bitcoin in, cash out. Cash is a big pain in the A, and it makes me feel a little bit safer that the stupidity and slowness of the banks is going to actually save me on this one. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I'm old, man. Let's see. Oh, hey, Rob, what's your thoughts about all the updates of Ledger Live? This is obligated to keep working the device, right? Yeah, so I've got a couple ledgers and I had to update. And I know people say, never update it, never update it. If I don't want to be able to, because it won't sync if I don't do it. And that's another thing. That's why I like TANGEM so much, because there is no, like, the app updates, right? But you don't have to, there's no updating the card. So you just do that and it just works. But with the Ledger device, I had to update it, I had to resync, and that didn't work. I had to shut my computer down, then restart it back up again, and then do it again, and that didn't work. And then I had to shut everything down, do a hard boot reset or something like that, then open it up like a third time the charm, then it worked. But then I had to add in the apps. It's a process. And I did it because I had to do it, make sure everything was there. And it was. So I'm not the guy to talk about, like, did you need to do it? I had to do it so I could check the balances. But Ledger is not my favorite. That's all. And Esquire says, you only have to worry if all markets go to zero. That's true. Actually, there would be no worry because you lost everything. So no reason to worry about that. Life's going to suck. Let's see. Lax, Bitcoin, Solana, MicroStrategy, NVIDIA, Tesla. Yes. Haven't we been? Just called iTRUST, keep getting an error message, something like request fail. Sorry, try again later. Trying to fund the premium crypto account. See, that's just it. I mean, you don't have to fund it if you have your crypto like that, or if you're sending in crypto. But as far as like bank to bank, I don't know. Maybe that's a bank issue. Maybe it's a them issue. I'm not for sure. But I'm not going to fund with cash. I'm going to fund with the Bitcoin that I have. We're such degens. Their service isn't for European. Sorry to hear that. 10 bajillion coins, exactly. How about Zcash? I think that was a big thing back in like 2017, 2021, maybe. It's supposed to be anonymous, kind of like on par with Monero. But I didn't hear too much afterwards. Monero, that is all. Does the most pro-crypto president ever kill the bull market with tariffs and memes? I don't know. Seems to go in other ways. I mean, their company is just going to start a stablecoin and also an ETF for Bitcoin, which I personally don't think they should do that. But of course, that's the son of the president. That doesn't seem, it just seems kind of slimy anyhow. Yeah, I know. Twinkle Bell says, do you have a link for iTRUST? Not only do I have a link, but I have videos on how it all works and why I chose it. It's kind of old, but it's the same thing. Let's see. If you go in the description, every single one of my videos, iTRUST Crypto IRA. I use them for a Roth first, a Roth IRA. And now I'm going to use them for custody. I recommend and have a Roth IRA. I recommend and have a Roth IRA with custody. And I said, why a crypto IRA? Here's a video. And now I got to do a video of why a custody with iTRUST. Thank you for reminding me. I got to do that. Any thoughts of the real future of Sweatcoin? Let's see how that's doing. You know, I thought Sweatcoin would do so much better. Because all you had to, I think my downfall was I liked the fact that you could earn it just by walking, and that was pretty good. But no one cares about that. And here we go. Sweatcoin. Whopping 5 cents. Now it's a fraction of a penny. Hasn't even gone anywhere. Just straight down. How about a year? Nope, still down. How about 3 months? No, 1 month. 7 days? Jesus. Does Sweatcoin only know red? Is that what it is? Whatever. Yeah, it's one of those things. The problem is that, like, I bought in early, but there was a lockup period for a year. So I wasn't able to do anything until like a penny. And I still own a bunch. So, and then of course, the unlock was like 5%. So I just, every month I get a little bit and it's worth less and less. Yeah, that's a bummer. Scott says, I love iTRUST. They've been great and excellent customer service. They are pretty good. It is a nice shirt. I like this one. It's a slimming shirt. Thanks a bot. Ha ha ha. Must have left Dodge with the black eye. Thank you, Mullet. Rob is doing a De Niro impression. Look, I do my best. I'm not the only person that really should be doing any impressions in crypto would be Guy from Coin Bureau. If you guys haven't heard his impressions of everybody in the crypto world, you're missing out on it. Probably the most awesome thing you've ever heard. Plato says, we need this channel to get above 353,000 subscribers. It just feels like it's been at that number since 2020. I don't go up. Like what happens is like, I'll get like 2 or 3 subscribers and I'll get 2 or 3 unsubscribed. Then I'll get like 7 or 8 and then 7 or 8. It's amazing. I'm the most balanced channel out there as far as not growing. That's okay. Do I really want a bunch of tourists coming in? God, no. Crazy says, wasn't Sweatcoin restricting the USA? At first it was, but then with all the concessions that Gary Gensler were making, it was able to come through. Gary says, I've been here for a while, still holding, but not paying too much attention to it. That's probably the best way to do things. Exactly. Stablecoin channels. Rob's channel that's pretty funny. I'm going to, with that, I'm going to steal that and we're going to get out of here. You guys have been here way too long. I appreciate you hanging around with me, but get out of here. Go touch grass or whatever. Things going to be just fine. Just stick around. I still say November, December is going to be pretty good, but don't forget that if you need to take those profits, they're there for you. Hopefully you have some. That's it for today. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys. Ooh, guess what? Tomorrow's NFA Live with Ben and Guy. So if you got some questions for Ben and Guy, put that in the comment section. I'll answer them tomorrow. Ask those guys tomorrow. Thanks so much, everybody. See you in the next one. Adios.